What would you like people to know before they hear this story?
That I love my mother a great deal.
All right.
That's it. Loved. She's dead as fuck.
Did you get that?
I did get that. Hello, and welcome to the Nutshell True Story Hour, a podcast for people who love stories. My name is Aaron Carnes, and I'm an author and one of the creators of In a Nutshell Storytelling, a monthly storytelling show in Sacramento, California. My co-creators are the world-class comedian Keith Lowell Jensen.
Hey everybody, this is Keith.
And Amy B., a storyteller and the person who pretty much runs this whole shindig.
It's Amy!
Every episode, we share with you one of our favorite stories told live in our show, followed by a conversation with the storyteller about how that story came to be. This week, we talked to Sacramento comedian and storyteller Johnny Taylor Jr. Storytelling has always been a part of Johnny's comedy set, but there was a story from his life that rarely ever made it into his stand-up set. It's about his mom and what it was like growing up with a parent with bipolar that caused delusional thinking. Her official diagnosis was bipolar with religious mania, which Johnny explains in more detail during the interview portion of this episode, after the story. It was very exciting for us to have Johnny tell this story on our stage, since it wasn't the kind of story he normally told, but it ended up being perfect for our show. Here's Johnny's story.
My mother was the real killer of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Thank you. Good night. I just had to get that off my chest. I got booked for this show. They asked me to do this story. They're like, we want you to tell the story about your mom. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And then a couple months go by, and I see that the theme of the show So, Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't name the show. My mother, let me preface this by saying, I loved my mother a lot. She was a wonderful person. She was very funny. She mispronounced words a lot, simple words. Like she couldn't say heart attack. She would always say, oh, he had a heart attack. Past tense. She couldn't say audacity. She would say orgasity, which is a weird combination of audacity and orgasm that I didn't even know we needed that word, but I think in retrospect we kind of do as the years unfold. So I was always a pretty anxious kid, even as a very small child. I was riddled with too many thoughts. My parents are, here's the thing. It would keep me up at night, and, I'd have the same thought. I would always stress out. I love my parents so much, and I would stress out about if they would die when I was in bed. I'd be like, what's going to happen when my parents die? It's going to be the worst thing. What am I going to do when they die? And now they're both dead. So, needless to say, that's a huge weight that's been lifted off my shoulders. Finally catch some fucking Z's. But I remember it was I was 4 and I was getting ready to turn 5. And I remember I walked in to the kitchen, and my mother was probably making some coffee, English muffin, and she approached me and she said, Johnny, what do you want for your birthday? And I said, I want to go to Disneyland. And she said, so be it. And I was like, that's a fucking weird thing to say. Don't know what that means. She kept asking me questions, one after another, and every time I'd answer her, she would say, so be it. Thought this was weird. Didn't think much about it. Later on that evening, my mom was acting even more strange. My birthday is in March, and she had put the Christmas tree up. I was cool with that. I love Christmas, like I guess we're doing it early this year, And my mom was Christmas tree there, and she was sleeping on the floor next to it. And I remember I asked my dad, I was like, is Mom okay? And he said, I don't know. And she woke up, and she started fighting with my dad. She said that she was a bear and that he was a lion. And she started chanting, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, which I also thought was kind of tight because I did love The Wizard of Oz. I knew at this point something was wrong. And so I'm 5, getting ready to turn 5, and I have much older siblings. I was Johnny-come-lately, they used to say. And so my nearest sibling's 7 years older than me. She was 12, Deanna. And then I had another sister who was 10 years older than me, and then my brother was 13 years older than me. And so my brother was nowhere around. He was off probably doing mushrooms somewhere. But we were having our own mushroom trip right at home. So I asked my dad, I was like, should we get a doctor? And he said, no, your mother's possessed by the devil. I'm 5. I'm just like, have you tried giving her wine? That might, I don't know. That seems to work on the shows. This went on for about a week of this weird behavior. And finally, my mom said, Johnny, you're very special. I was like, yeah, I know. She was like, you're John the Baptist. And I was like, I don't know who John the Baptist is. What does he do? He says he absolves people of their sins in the name of God. And I was like, never done that. So doesn't seem like that's in my wheelhouse, if I'm being honest. More of a Lego guy. Those seem better. And so she gathered my siblings, Deanna and Candace, which went by Candy, gathered them into the bathroom, and my mom proceeded to have me baptize my brother and sister. And I remember asking, and my brother was watching. He was too big to get into the tub. And Ozempic wasn't a thing. So I asked, I'm like, what have they done? They've sinned. What am I absolving them of? And she says, what have they done? And I said, they ate all the cereal. Is that absolvable? So be it. As the days went on, my mom managed to convince me that I had powers, that I could turn the TV on and off. I couldn't. I tried really hard. I couldn't do it. At one point, my mom got very violent, not towards me, but towards my dad. And at this point, I'm like, you haven't tried wine. You haven't taken her to the doctor. Like, take the L, dude. Just leave, At this point, they have a priest come to the house to see if my mom is possessed. I want to stress to you guys, they did this before a simple doctor's visit. They had the priest come before the doctor. He's like, I don't know what to do. She's kind of wigging out. you know? And so he leaves. A couple days go by. The cops were called on the house. There was a lot of stuff going on. Cops get called, and they take my mom away. My mom ends up being taken to a mental hospital, and where she gets diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and she was having a bout of mania. Now, as I know now, many years later, there's different kinds of mania. She did not have the fun kind. She didn't have the go to Vegas, spend all your money on cocaine and hookers. She didn't have that type of mania. She had what is called hyper-religious mania, where you get a bit of a God complex. So I go visit my mom. That's how I spent my birthday. I go visit my mom in the mental hospital. Now, this is the first mental hospital I've ever been to, but I'm sorry to say it was not the last. I saw many, 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 many mental hospitals over the years. I saw my mom. She didn't look great. She didn't have her Maybelline face on. She looked sad. She looked tired. She looked malnourished. But it was good to see her because she seemed like mom, which was great. So my mom comes home, and we're easing her in. Now, I don't know if anybody around has people in their life with mental illness, or might have mental illness yourself. Things trigger episodes sometimes of mental illness. One of the triggers for my mom was anything to do with the Zodiac killer. She had in her head that she had escaped the Zodiac killer when she was in her 20s. And she even knew who the guy was. She had his name. I did research this later to see maybe she's onto something. But the guy, I think, just kind of worked at a truck stop. I was like, "You're him." And he's like, "Pump your gas?" I was like, "Maybe you're not." Sorry, my bad. So anything to do with the Zodiac killer would. So if any mention, like we'd be watching like the news or something, the Zodiac killer would come on. They would talk about him, and my sister would just reach for the remote, try to change the channel. So my mom was doing pretty good. She was doing pretty good for a few years. She had the right cocktail to. It wasn't wine. She had the right cocktail of drugs to kind of help her out. My mom got a job, which was cool. She started working. It was the first time, I remember her working. I was probably 8 or 9 at this point. I remember we had Christmas again. We had my mom went out of control for Christmas one year. And there was trees under the gifts. There was gifts under the trees. They were all along the wall. Our whole front room was like filled with Christmas gifts. And a few days after Christmas, we found out my mom got fired from her job because she had been stealing these gifts from her work. Yeah. But she didn't get caught. Until after Christmas, which kind of worked out, honestly. So my mom was unemployed, and idle hands are the devil's playthings, and so she was around a lot. And she even said, she was like, "I'm getting a new job," and I was like, "Oh, cool, Mom. What are you gonna do?" And she was like, "I'm gonna be an Avon lady." I was like, "No, that's not a job. It's not a real job. What are you going to do?" But those were like some of the best nights. You guys familiar with Avon parties? Oh my God, every gal in the cul-de-sac coming over getting lit. It was rad. I would be there and I'd be like, man, I want to perform, I want to perform. And I remember one night she had a get together, Avon / Tupperware get together. And I was upstairs kind of looking over at them all having fun. And I was like, I want to perform for these people. And I didn't know how to sing. I was not a good singer. I only knew one joke at the time. I have graduated to 2. So I was like, I don't know what to do. So I was like, I'll strip. I had just seen Flashdance. It was the 80s. So I put one of my dad's business shirts on. I looked like a sexy girlfriend the night after, just in this big oversized dress shirt. And then I just start kind of cascading down the stairway. I gotta tell you guys, there's nothing creepier than an 8-year-old cascading down the stairway to no music. I also had some Spider-Man underoos on. So my mom, the job didn't last that long. The gals from the neighborhood stopped coming around. They didn't want to get on some weird list by being there. My mom ended up going back to the mental hospital shortly after that. This was the second trip to the mental hospital. And I remember getting a fear that my parents were going to get a divorce. It became prevalent in my mind. But I was also to the point where I was like, I wouldn't blame my dad, I was like, this is a lot to deal with. I also started losing my faith. I'd always believed in God. I always wanted to believe in God. But after seeing what was happening with my mom, who I loved more than anything, I started to think God might not have believed in me. So I got curious, My siblings always kind of bought in to the notion that mom's not mentally ill, mom's special, They fed into it. But even at 10, 11 years old, I didn't, I was like, wow, mom's ill, something's wrong, and it has nothing to do with God. So when mom got out of the mental hospital, she got a new job, started working at the intimate apparel department of wine stocks. Started doing that. So I had a lot of free time, and I like to read. I would read a lot. I would read Super Fudge, Tales of Fourth Grade Nothing, Ramona Quimby, Age 8, all the hits. And I used to go, and I'd go into Walden Books. We lived right by Sunrise Mall. You guys might know that as the old deserted graveyard. I would go to Sunrise Mall, and I would read. I would just sit down and I'd read. We lived 2 blocks away. And then I started kind of going into the other parts of the store. And I got to the Bibles. And I started kind of like looking through the Bibles, thumbing through the Bibles. And across the aisle, there was a comparative religion section. And I saw a book by Bertrand Russell called Why I'm Not a Christian. And so I just started thumbing through it. I was probably 11 or 12. And this stuff was speaking to me. I was like, well, there's other people out there that don't believe in God. I didn't know. I felt sheltered and insulated in this kind of environment. And it was freeing. Started making me think, oh, wow, I can believe what I want, They have their beliefs, I have my beliefs. And, this story should be called The Making of a Young Atheist. So I start reading, and then I read more. And years go by, and I was a non-believer in my heart, but I was not out as a non-believer to my family because I didn't want it to make my mom upset. I didn't want it to send my mom to the hospital again. I had a lot of fears. So I move out. I drop out of high school in ninth grade dropout. Get my GED when I'm 16, and I move out. I move in with a guy named Craig, who also had a mental, he was OCD, which was fun for me. He liked to play guitar, and he'd unplug his amp when he'd go into the other room, and I'd just plug it back in. That became a game I played for hours with Craig, if I'm being honest. Moved out, I got a job at Tower Records. Started working at Tower. I ended up working at Borders at 18. I moved over to Borders Books and Music on Fair Oaks Boulevard. RIP, Borders on Fair Oaks. About this time, I'm 18, and I get a call from my sister that mom has gotten to a car and has driven away, and we can't find her. She's been gone for a while. So I leave my work, and I drive, and my mom was still working at Weinstock's. So I was like, I don't know where my mom would go, but I'm going to go to her work to see if they've seen her. So I go there, and there's cop cars. So I'm like, she's probably been here. She's probably been here. I go up, and I go upstairs to the intimate apparel department, and that's where the cops are. And there's many aisles in this department of knocked over bras and panties. It was a pervert's fantasy. And there's all sorts of just underwear knocked over. And I go to the cops and I go, hey, my mom works here. I think she might have something to do with this panty stuff. And he goes, is your mom Linda Taylor? And I said, yeah, that's her. He goes, yeah, we had to take her in. We're just kind of doing some reports right now. And I'm like, okay, what did she say? And he goes, well, she said a lot of wild stuff. I was like, okay, that tracks. It's like anything in specific. And he says, well, she did tell us that she was the real killer of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. I was like, yeah. And I'm John the Baptist. So that was the last time I went to visit my mom in the mental hospital because she figured it out. They figured out some drugs that worked for her, and she became stable, and she started really coming around, and I was able to have a relationship with my mom as an adult. One day she wanted me to take her to the doctor. So go to the doctor, we get lunch, we go to the doctor, and she comes out and she doesn't look great. And I'm like, oh, Mom, what's going on? And she's like, oh, I have breast cancer. And I was like, oh, God, really coming through again. So she fights it. She fights it. She goes through radiation. She gets chemo. And she ends up about 5 years clear of the cancer. Then it came back. And I spent a lot of time with my mom in the last days of her life. And I remember being at her bedside when she passed. And I remember thinking, I hope God's real. Because my mom got dealt a really bad hand. And I didn't want her to be disappointed one last time. And then I realized that's silly because God's fake. But I watched her take her last breath. And whatever happens in the afterlife, so be it. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You describe at the end a period of time where your mom gets basically stable from medication.
Yeah.
What was her perspective on her illness? Did she have a good concept of it, that she wasn't possessed, that she had a mental illness?
Yeah, I think at that point she had a degree of acceptance that she was like, this makes me feel normal in the world. Mm-hmm. I do want to say about that story, kind of long for me.
Yeah.
I'm not tight enough. I'm gonna have my comedy hat, very loose, but interesting to listen to it back.
It was very hard for me to let myself have long stretches without a laugh. It's terrifying when we've spent decades training ourselves not to do that. How was that for you?
Well, it was kind of weird.
It sounds like it's even hard listening to it.
Yeah, in the early bit of the story, I thought it was, the funny parts were too funny a little bit. I thought I was like killing a little bit. I was like, it's going to be hard to like get back on track to like some of the deeper stuff in the end. I thought the story felt kind of unbalanced in that way. But it's as a storyteller, I've bombed with stories a bunch of times over the years. So silence or indifference is something that I've learned as part of my process. But in this case, I thought the silence was at least kind of earned. I think people were listening and paying attention, and let me get to kind of some of the deeper moments, and then giving me some grace with some laughs here and there for jokes.
Something that Brenna said to me, that my wife said to me when I was first telling longer stories, was if they're silent, they're listening to you.
Yeah, that's
if they're like shuffling in their seats and whispering to each other, you're losing them. But if they're silent, you got them.
Right, which seems counterintuitive to doing any kind of comedic performance, but it is true. I mean, I teach the class, and I always tell them, like, if you're not being interesting, be funny. If you're not being funny, be interesting. The opposite of what a good storyteller, especially when doing a stand-up act, is at any point losing them where they're not paying attention. Because even if you have a great joke or have a huge climactic part of the story, they're not going to understand it because they lost the context of it. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, let me back you up a little there. What is the class that you teach?
I teach storytelling for stand-up at the Sacramento Punchline. I was doing it every month. I'm only doing it now bi-monthly, so every other month.
And that's storytelling for stand-up.
Yeah.
Which isn't what you did here.
No, I did storytelling for Try Not to Cry.
And was this your first time doing that?
I had done a version of this story in Chico at the Blue Room Theater 10 years prior.
On a comedy show?
Yeah. And, I think I was doing an hour when I really only had 25 minutes. So I was like, let me dig into the archives of my trauma and see if I can make something out of nothing. And I remember it going well enough that I was like, I should turn that into something. But this is the first time I've really ever properly told the story. Even though, I mean, this is my first time running through it on the stage. And you can definitely tell, it's very ummy.
Ummy,
getting a little ummy, but it not nearly as tight as I'd want it to be, but also very like kind of freeing to really sit with some of the parts of it and tell them on stage to a bunch of people.
That's good. Do you think you'll do it again then?
I don't know where it fits in my act. You know what I mean? I could probably tell it at another kind of storytelling thing, maybe if I ever did a one-man show, I don't know how long that was.
23
Felt like
minutes.
it was 57 years But yeah, I mean, if I wanted to, I could easily come up with an hour of material about my mom and do a one man show. But also like it takes so much work and so much time and really running it through. And I just love doing stand up so much that I don't want to really sacrifice it.
When we do a stand-up set for an important show, it's a set that we've done so many times at open mics and stuff. And that's, what you're talking about is very real with storytelling. It's like, where do you go workshop it? Right. You got a real limited number of places. And a lot of them are places where you don't want to go workshop something that's not tight yet.
Right. And, I could just work on stuff at my storytelling grad show.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got that. Yeah.
I can do as much time as I want. But it is like this thing of I would want to really, really tighten it up. And it's a lot of work, It'd be a lot of work.
There's so much more you could, outside of tightening it up, there's so much you can add to it as well, though. I mean, I feel like there's a one-man show here because I peeked behind the curtain. I know that your brothers and your sisters are also their own characters.
Right.
Your brother alone could be another 20 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably do a whole hour on Gary, so.
What is your siblings' perspective on this at this point? Do they, because you set it up like you were the like kind of lone atheist and they sort of bought into your parents' sort of way of describing it?
Right. I'm still the lone atheist. For sure. It varies. I mean, with one of my siblings, I have a pretty open dialogue about how it went, and they definitely see how, it went down, and the other two are kind of like, it wasn't that bad. They kind of have this like revisionist history about it. And, I've had many Facebook arguments with my siblings about that subject. And, it's not that they weren't there. You know what I mean? I was a little kid. I was there, for a lot of it. And my older siblings just weren't as much. But, I mean, they still saw it, and they probably saw it from a different perspective than me, and it was hard. But, one of my siblings said, you can't, you can't go on and on about the 1% of the time that it was hard. I was like, 1%? I'm still dealing with this shit. I'm going to be 50, and I'm still every day think about my childhood,
Well, one of your siblings actually thought that they witnessed miracles being performed in your house.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, you haven't slept in 4 days. That's when miracles
Right. You're on crystal meth. That's, a lot of miracles happen. My brother thought that my mom levitated a guy at one point, swung him around and levitated him off the ground. Just wild shit. But, there's varying degrees of like mental illness shit throughout all of my siblings and all of my family, and me too. Less mental illness and more like mood disorder stuff where I'm anxious and I'm a worrier, and I sometimes crowds freak me out, and it's mild comparatively speaking, but it's still like it definitely affects all of us. And I don't know what the fuck my siblings have, but I don't think they would ever even venture out to try to get it checked out.
There was the joke you do at the beginning is a joke that you do like at most of your sets that I've seen.
Yeah,
where you talk about worrying at night that your parents are going to die, and then the punchline is that your parents are dead now. That it's always like it always gets a sort of a shocked laugh when I've seen you perform it, but I felt like it hit differently in this context because in this one you actually talk about your childhood and your mother dying. Right. Did you think about that? How this joke was sort of ended up framing or will sit differently than how you normally tell it?
Yeah, I didn't think too much about it. I just knew that I wanted to have a joke in the early part of my set, and I knew that was something that I could kind of work in. I delivered it differently. I kind of delivered it in context of the story more.
Yeah.
I set it up different, so it kind of blended in a little bit better. But yeah, I think it did. It did feel, it felt different for me telling it, but I think people that have seen that joke before, it's a divisive bit to begin with, because I think people are like, oh God, I didn't see that coming, and which is great. That's why I say it.
I think my dad has not only told you this, I think he's actually requested that joke before.
He
But
has.
that's my dad's favorite of your jokes.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a real. Your dad has such a funny sense of humor.
He likes dark stuff.
But it's really a comics. Comics love that joke.
Yeah, yeah.
When I talk to comics, they're always like, "Oh my God, I wish I could have wrote it." And I was like, "You could have if your parents were dead."
To your knowledge, that episode that you described when you were 5, was that your mom's first episode, as far as you understand?
Well, I mean, I didn't know any better at the time, but as years went on, she would always talk about having her first nervous breakdown when she was 27. And she would reference that a lot, as I would grow up throughout the years. I imagine her nervous breakdown was just an episode of mental illness, I think it was probably popular in the 60s and 70s when someone was losing the plot a little bit to say, I had a nervous breakdown. like, I might have should have saw somebody,
What was your role in your family when you were a kid? Because I know she kind of titled you John the Baptist, and you had all this anxiety.
That didn't stick.
What? So how do you perceive your role within the family to be?
I was the baby, I think more than anything, I was the comic relief of my family. I was always trying to break up a degree of tension when I was a kid. Tension was pretty thick, There was a lot of walking on eggshells in my house because no one wanted to upset the apple cart to a degree. So I was always trying to do that, trying to break the tension, always trying to be funny, always trying to entertain. And I love, that's the thing, I love my parents, I love my siblings. To this day, we don't see eye to eye on most anything, really, but I love them to death. And, in spite of everything, we did have a lot of love in the house. It was never about that. It was always about just trying to keep shit okay,
Were you successful? Did you make your mom laugh a lot?
A lot. And she made me laugh too. I mean, she's just a really, really funny person.
Yeah.
And I would say, I mean, my dad was funny too, but in more of kind of a corny way. But my mom was kind of a crack up, She was very funny. But I'm much funny. My brother was very funny too, in a different way than me. But I was definitely the funny one in the family, for sure.
So your mom saying that you were John the Baptist, did she do that with any of the other siblings, a thing like that?
No. I was the only one that got a moniker, a religious moniker. Other than her, she would call herself the Lamb a lot, and say that she had to save the world. So I wasn't the top dog, but I was definitely a lieutenant.
How religious was your family?
They weren't. That's the thing, is people were like, "You guys must have went to church all the time." We never did. My mom was very pray in the closet. You don't have to go to church. Church isn't necessary. You know, your own temple is in your own mind. And so we never went to church really, ever. But my mom would read the Bible every day. She'd watch Herbert W. Armstrong a lot on TV. We had The Plain Truth. That was his magazine that came out every month.
So that's kind of evangelical, or?
Yeah. It was It was like low key
Okay.
evangelical. He was like this older guy. He wasn't like Jimmy Swaggart or Jim Baker or anything.
But you guys weren't Catholic or
Not at all.
Presbyterian.
No.
But you guys your dad jumped to demon
Right.
Yeah.
so quickly.
Yeah. Which I get. I mean, there's definitely overlapping symptoms of of demonic possession and someone having a full-on freak out. So, I don't necessarily. I think it's weird to jump to demon before you do a little science-based diagnosis. But
were they anti-science at all, or do you think this was sort of they didn't really want to face the reality of what this actually meant?
no, they weren't anti-science. If I hurt myself, I went to the doctor. And I think it was just they had a hard time fessing up to the fact that like something might be wrong. They would have rather believed that my mom was magical than to believe that she was ill. And there was mental illness was so stigmatized.
That's what I was going to say. It was a different time for how we still have a long way to go, but things we talk about it so much more openly now than when we were kids.
It was so stigmatized that you'd rather be possessed by the devil.
Yeah.
Like,
I've actually never heard about I've never heard the term hyper-religious mania before.
Yeah.
It must be pretty, I don't know if it's rare.
Have you looked it up since?
No, I haven't.
We know someone else whose mom has the same
that's right,
situation. And he has the same first name as you.
Yeah, it's hyper-religious mania. I definitely looked it up. I remember being like, what the fuck is this? And in the early days of the internet, and there was so much about it, where it's a type of mania where people usually make themselves God and my mom kind of did that with the lamb thing. But yeah, you can Google it and read a lot about it. It's an actual thing, that people have, and it's pretty wild because a lot of times they're pretty convincing.
Mm-hmm. Did she also have, as someone with bipolar, did she have like a deep, dark depression with that, or did she just lean more in the mania side?
She was definitely going heavy mania, but she would also get very sad and very depressed for not a good reason. People overuse depression, I think, a lot. Where I remember when my dad died, somebody was like, yes, you must be really depressed. I'm like, I'm not depressed. I'm sad. I'm actually having a human reaction to like a very emotional thing. It's depression and just being sad for a good reason are two completely different things. But yeah, she would have times when everything was going okay and she would have a hard time getting out of bed and stuff like that. That was definitely like, I got so good at picking up on things, where my mom would say a phrase and I'd be like, this is going to be weird in a few days. You could kind of tell.
Oh, wow. Like little warnings that it was coming.
For sure.
Red flags.
Yeah, for sure.
So she would just start speaking a little different?
She was talking a little different. She would, my mom smoked Pall Mall non-filters and just lung destroyers. And she would start picking one of the ends of it. And she'd be like, got a stick in my cigarette again. And even that, I would be like, oh, mom's picking out sticks in her Pall Malls.
There we go.
And then would you put on your top hat and your cane and start?
Yeah, that's where I'm like, how do I break up the tension?
You got pretty emotional at the end of this, which I've never seen you get emotional on stage like that before. And then as you came off stage, you seemed yourself surprised by it. What was that like for you?
It was weird. I was not expecting it. Obviously, it's a hard story to tell. But especially when you haven't kind of you haven't really run through the story that much,
right?
You get to the part where you're in the moment. You're thinking about being at your mom's bedside, and you see her in your head. Like the movie's playing, and I got choked up, and it was not very strange for me. I'm very in control.
Right.
When I'm on stage, And so it was weird to be like, oh God.
We do that to people in a nutshell.
Yeah.
We've got a little list now, and I'm on it, of comedians that have gotten. I have one story that even telling it, like practicing, I was like, oh, I'm not ready to tell it yet because I can't get through this one part of it without crying. Right. So I was like, how about I tell it to you guys on the phone like 6 times? Eventually, it'll stop breaking me down. But I don't know. Why do we, again, I think it is control. But why do we object to that? Why don't we just, okay, so that part's emotional, we're going to get emotional.
Right. I think if I was out of like the context of a comedy club, I would be like, yeah, I could cry on stage, but for the most part, you're talking to, 100 drunks.
Yeah.
And,
that might be a good time to cry, actually. That should be, take advantage of that.
I'm going to invent a new genre. It's like comedy, but we cry instead of laughing.
Yeah.
Right. When my dad died, I hosted Luna's like 3 days later.
Yeah.
He died on Monday and I hosted on Wednesday. So it was 2 days later and I hosted on Wednesdays. And I didn't even get emotional then. I was terribly grief stricken for that not 2 hours of time, but on stage I pulled it together. I think it was just actually talking about it and kind of reliving it just got me. And yeah, it was, but my girlfriend was on the show, so it was nice to be able to get off stage and have somebody that really loves you kind of comfort you. So
did you measure your vulnerability to her vulnerability? Her ability to do it helped you or vice versa?
I think, her story was super deep and like kind of layers and layers and layers of trauma as well. And so I think, leading up to the show, we were both kind of stressed out about it. But it was good to like do it. And it was kind of like cool to share that night with her. I thought her story was so well. It was a really hard story to listen to, but so well done. And it was like a weird bonding experience to both have these kind of traumatic stories that we were telling on the same night.
That's what I was picturing. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's why I got you both on there.
Yeah, it worked. Good job.
Thank you.
So I come from a religious family, and I'm the odd duck in a sense that I'm the only atheist and I'm the only politically left and all this and that. And I have no idea why that's the direction I took.
Right.
Do you have any thoughts about why you took the direction you took in life? Whereas you think about your parents, you think about your siblings, right. Why you had the reaction you had to your upbringing? I will say to my parents' credit, they were always very left. My parents were very, they're blue state strong. They were very low. They loved Jimmy Carter. Oh, all right. You had some lefty, religious folks. Now what happened? I have the opposite. Not the opposite. I have very, very right wing, religious parents and family. Yeah. One of my sisters has stayed very left. The other two have not necessarily. One of them is completely red. Really? I'll let you guess who it is. Rhymes with berry. But so yeah, I mean, I always had that kind of like, people should have rights. Whoa, that is radical. As crazy as my childhood was. You don't mean all people. You don't mean all rights. But it's so I did have that. But honestly, I think if nothing else, growing up how I did made me so curious as to like, well, if we believe this crazy shit, what other kind of crazy shit do people believe? So, I think more than anything, it was just like seeking what else was out there. And, and people are like, you're a non-believer. I'm like, well, if choosing not to believe in one thing is still believing
in something, I believe to not believe, it's, and also I've always stayed very kind of spiritually open, I'm a soft atheist. I'm a hard agnostic,
That's probably an honest, most people are probably that, right?
Yeah, I don't claim that I'm smart enough to know all the secrets of the fucking universe. That would be so arrogant. But I do think that most religions are bullshit, and
most.
Yeah, I mean all.
Thank you.
Well, except for the Church of Subgenius.
Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah,
the Satanic Temple.
That's a good one too.
Is at least they believe in being good to each other, which is more than most religions.
Do you think being the baby of the family gave you more curiosity than your siblings?
Yeah, I mean, I had just such reference points right there in my house of something not working, something people, there's that old Tony Kameen joke where he's like, I tried to sell my Bible at the garage sale, but I didn't want a price on it, so I just put free, doesn't work. But yeah, that's kind of like, I saw that it wasn't really working and my house was in complete chaos, and why would an all-powerful God let that happen to my sweet little family?
I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, I know I have a bias by being an atheist myself, but it seems to me that you, being an atheist, almost have more sympathy and are more realistic about the trauma and the pain of the situation in a way.
Yeah, this is gonna sound bad, but I think being super religious kind of dumbs you out, so I probably do look at it with a little bit more, empathy, and a little bit more academically, for lack of a better word, just because I'm not dumbed up by all that belief, Belief really can make you an idiot.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Because you have to believe such dumb shit.
Yeah, and belief requires, the whole concept of faith is that you believe, don't believe with what your eyes tell you,
Right.
Believe what you're being told to believe.
Right.
So,
well, they always say like it's the gift of faith, and it's like, well, it shouldn't have to be a gift, it should be pretty easily believable,
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to be like, I was chosen to have this gift of faith. It's like, I just think you're willfully ignorant,
So did you, as a kid, feel special based off of what your mom, designated you as?
Totally.
John the Baptist?
Totally. I did.
Were you reluctant to lose that?
Yeah,
no,
do you still?
no, I mean, I've always thought I was special. But
You say that joking, but that's true.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
you have a strong sense of self, and you
Right.
believe that you're destined to do some cool shit, and you committed your life to that.
Right. I've always, and I think people have kind of found it annoying over the years, but I've always had an undying belief in myself.
Yeah.
And my own capabilities, and even like at my day job, if something's going wrong, I don't ever stress out too much because I'm like, I will find a solution because I'm smart,
Right.
And it's, so yeah, I do have faith.
Yeah, I was about to say that sounds like faith.
I do have faith. It's just not in like, an omnipresent, sky monster.
Could you talk about the origin of you writing the joke about the one that you told at the story and that you tell frequently about
anxiety.
worry? Yeah,
The anxiety bit.
Yeah.
It's based in reality. That thought would cross my mind a lot at night.
Because you were already a comedian by the time your father passed away.
I was.
So obviously that joke had to have come after he passed away, I assume.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't do a half joke. I'm like, no, I'm just waiting. I can't wait for my dad to die so I can finally finish that joke. I was just kind of sitting on the back burner. No. So, but yeah, I was just thinking about anxiety more than anything. And I think there was a different version of that joke I used to tell until I kind of tightened it up. And of course, I added tags onto it over the years.
I love when you introduce it, you ask if anyone in the audience has anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and you can count on someone to go woohoo, and then you always riff on that.
Yeah, you could say it's a strange way to say you have it. But it's always kind of like this weird, when someone woos, it's always like a woo, like I just said something, now what happens? It seems kind of stressed out. But yeah, I mean, it was about that, and then thinking about my parents dying and being like, well, I guess I don't have to worry about that anymore, and there you go.
Yeah.
Then you just kind of figure out how to tell it.
What role does anxiety have now in your life, may I ask?
Oh, sure.
Like, do you have stage fright?
Not at all.
Did you ever have stage fright?
Not so much. Yeah, I never really had stage fright. That's performing, like, being the center of attention was always very anxiety reducing for me. It's when I'm alone is where I really start feeling anxious. If I'm, it creeps up now and again, but and it'll never fully go away. But for the most part, it does not affect me on my day to day.
Does it play a part in your creativity at all, or?
I wish it did. I guess it does subtly, because a lot of my act involves the fear of something, the fear of disappointment, the fear of embarrassment, fear of rejection, my relationship with my mom has affected my entire life in so many different ways, but most especially my relationships I've had with other people, mommy issues are a thing, and I have worked on myself a lot over the past, 20 years, however many years, where I've been in a ton of relationships and, wasn't a great boyfriend a lot of times, absent on the road, and just kind of really living my own life. But always, desperately needing that person to think I was the world, because I felt like I never had that. My mom was gone a lot, and my mom, when you're a little kid and your mom has like these serious bouts, that kind of illness is so self-involved. You're literally, she thought she was God. I'm like, how more self-important can you get?
Yep.
But you feel like you don't have them, and and I think I spent most of my adult life looking for somebody to just really be there for me, but not necessarily return the favor. So, it's taken a lot of like getting to know myself and addressing a lot of the weird things that I'm about, and trying to be a better, not just a better partner, but just a better person, and to people. So
that's cool. Age is probably helping too.
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Because you old as fuck.
Getting there. But yeah, it's work, and you just never get better unless you work on yourself. And, some people never do.
No.
And so I'm glad I started the journey, early enough that I think I can have a pretty cool last however many years I got.
What could you point to what you believe inspired you to put in work to be a better person?
Well, you can only get divorced so many times.
How many?
3 times. So before you start, at some point you're like, well, maybe I'm the problem. You don't, it doesn't happen by accident. So
what do you say onto what's your joke on stage?
About
getting married?
Well, I like to get married a lot. 3 up, 3 down.
Retired the side.
Retired the side. That's a little baseball joke that only 4 or 5 people get now and again.
I had to pull Johnny's side after like the 4th or 5th time I heard it and went, what does retired the side mean?
Yeah. It's that tag's so good. People have stolen it. So
nice.
I think it's just it's not like you wake up one day and you're like, I gotta change, kind of progressively.
It's more like every day you wake up and go, I gotta change.
Right.
My diaper.
Oh, Keith. But it's you chip away at it, and you do things that you're like, that's not what that's not the person I want to be, and you regroup and you try to be that person again the next day.
Did your dad have a changed perspective on your mom's illness, either in her later life or after she passed?
Yeah, my dad passed, I think about 6 years after my mom did, and he was remarried and the whole nine, and I had a good relationship with my dad, as an adult, for the most part, but he was definitely like, she was ill,
So okay. So
and we had conversations where he apologized about his role in encouraging this belief of crazy spiritual magic in the house. But
wow, you had a parent that apologized.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah, it's like a shooting star. Most of the time you don't see it.
Nice.
My dad really likes Johnny a lot. He's a fan, and it's been an interesting kind of friendship and relationship to see.
Yeah, I love your dad.
Yeah.
Your dad. I always say he's like my dad, but I just don't see him as much. I saw him about as much as I saw my dad, to be honest.
You think they would have gotten along?
Oh yeah, my dad was a great dude. Like very easy to get along with. Funny, had very strong beliefs.
Yeah.
Hated hunting for game. He was very anti-game hunting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good.
He had like a lot of hills that he would die on, and that was one of them.
Huh. Yeah, my dad's a lefty, but I don't. He doesn't seem like he's willing to take stands like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of trouble.
You pick and choose your stands. Choose your battles. There's some battles, the older I get, the less I'm willing to fight for them. I'm just like, fuck it, that's fine. I don't think I have the energy to care about that at this point.
Did you ever go back to stripping?
Never did.
Was that just a one-off?
Yeah.
Just a one-off.
So far.
Yeah, I know what a man does in the privacy of his own bedroom.
Listen, you're in shape right now.
Yeah.
You've put a lot of work into that in the last few months.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the door may be opening, buddy.
Yeah, you never know where enlightenment will take you.
One thing I did get from my very weird God upbringing is this is for my wife. So
nice.
So at some point,
suddenly we all three want you more.
So at some point, Holly's gonna get to see me naked.
Yeah. I'm sure she's been looking forward to that. I'm sure.
Gonna make an honest woman out of her.
You know what's even better than naked?
What?
Did you happen to inherit any of your dad's old shirts?
I wish I had one.
Just put one of those on with some Spider-Man under.
Here's the thing: I have some shirts from last year though
that are big.
That feel like
right.
I'm 5 and I'm wearing my dad's shirt.
And as long as Spider-Man Underoos came up, would you go on record as saying that Spider-Man is the best superhero?
I think Spider-Man rules. I think there are other great superheroes.
Right, but he's the best.
One of them.
I'm not asking you to say that he's the only good one, but he's the best.
He doesn't have the energy to fight.
Yeah, this is not one of those hills I'll die on. Sure, Keith. He's great.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for listening to the Nutshell True Story Hour. Please follow us on our Substack, which you can find by going to inanutshellstorytelling.com. Now, we want to give a shout out to some recent paid subscribers. Francis Southwick, who is an incredible storyteller and has told a few stories at Wildcard and hopefully will tell more. And Aaron Jones. We love and appreciate both of your support and promise to care for you forever. Now, I bet you know one person who would really appreciate this episode with Johnny Taylor about his mother. Maybe someone who had a similar experience with their mom. Do us a favor and send them a link and tell them that they must listen to it immediately. Check out our live show, In a Nutshell Storytelling, at the Sophia Theater in downtown Sacramento. Our next show is on Friday, August 28th. The theme is epic fails. In other words, those unpleasant times in our lives that we learn from, yada, yada, yada. You should also come to our smaller show, Wildcard, and put your name in the Not Hat and tell a story. It's every third Wednesday of the month at Teneral Winery in Midtown Sacramento. All that info and more is on our Substack, inanutshellstorytelling.com. And if you'd like to support us, you can become a paid Substack subscriber. It's all appreciated, and it helps keep live storytelling alive in Sacramento. See you again in 2 weeks.